To start the bench press, you want to make sure your hands are evenly spaced apart. You can do this by finding the ring on the bar and placing your pinkies there. Next, you want to make sure you touch the bar to your chest. You can do this by hitting it where your nipple line is. Lastly, you'd want to keep the 5 points of contact throughout the lift. This includes your head, shoulder, butt, and 2 feet. A benefit of the bench press is increasing strength in your pectoral muscles. During the bicep curl, you want to make sure you have a close grip on the bar, your elbows stay close to your body, and you go to full extension at the bottom. A benefit of the bicep curl is increased muscle size of the bicep. To start the weighted pull-up, you want to make sure your grip is wider than shoulder width apart. Next, you want to make sure you go full extension, pulling yourself up with your chin at or above the bar. Lastly, this is a strict pull-up. You want no swing, straight up and straight down. A benefit of this exercise is increased size and strength of your lats, aka your wings. For the standing shoulder press, you want to make sure your stance is a little wider than shoulder width apart with your knees slightly bent. You want to make sure you come down with your elbows at about 90 degrees and then push back up to full extension. A benefit of this exercise is increasing strength of your deltoids. To start the RDL, you want to make sure your feet are shoulder width apart, toes pointed forward, back is flat, and head is in a neutral position. As you stand with the bar, you want to make sure you lift with your legs pushing through the ground, not with your back. At the standing position, you want to make sure you go down with hinging at your hips. You want to stick your butt back and drive the bar into your shins. A benefit of the RDL is increasing your range of motion and your flexibility as well as hamstring strength. The stance is an important part of this lift. You want to make sure your feet are shoulder width apart or a little wider with your toes slightly pointed out. Next, you want to make sure the bar is placed on the ledge of your traps. This can be done with having your elbows up high while holding the bar. Lastly, you want to make sure you go down to parallel, pushing through your heels as you come up, not coming on your toes. A benefit of the back squat is increasing the strength of your glutes and quadriceps. For this lift, you want to make sure that you have a slight lean forward. Next, you want to make sure that you go down to where your knee is almost touching the ground, not touching the ground though. Lastly, you want to make sure your front knee is not collapsing inward. A benefit of this lift is that it's unilateral and you can see any imperfections in your individual leg strength. The burpee box jump needs to be performed in one fluid motion. No break in between the burpee and box jump. Make sure you pick an appropriate height for the box as so that you can accomplish it the first time. Then go up for progression. Lastly, you want to make sure that you jump and stand at full extension at the top end of the jump. A benefit of this exercise is increasing the power output of your glutes. For the hanging leg raise, you want to make sure that you are hanging at full extension. You want to minimize as much swing as possible, almost coming to a complete stop at the bottom. Lastly, you want to make sure that you bring your legs to parallel, if not more, to the ground. A benefit of this exercise is increasing abdominal strength. During this stretch, you want to make sure that your back foot is flat. You do not want to be up on your toes. Secondly, you want to make sure that you walk out your hands from an upright position until you are in a comfortable position. Lastly, make sure that you do this slowly. It's not a fast exercise. A benefit of this exercise is to increase hip mobility.